Look at this thing. It's the Jeep Gladiator, and it's designed for doing crazy off-roading on a custom-built chassis. It has the look to live up to its name. It's got removable doors and a removable roof. Yep, this is the first ever dual cab convertible. That may seem uncalled for, unnecessary, unbelievable even. But the question is, are you not entertained? Just make sure you don't call it a Wrangler Ute, because it's a lot more than that. Let me show you how, but first, make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. The Gladiator has been designed to do the hard yards. It's even got little things like wider slats on the grille to allow better airflow and a different cooled steering system. Things that make you realize this is much more than just a Wrangler with a different back on it. In fact, Ram has been involved with this car in order to make it very tow efficient. In fact, almost 3.5 ton towing capacity is what you can expect. It's got a high strength chassis and it's made to tow because Americans love that. Now, what about that tray? Let's have a look at it. So the tub is a decent size. It's about 1,530 mils long and wide enough. And it's about what you'd expect of a mid-size ute. But there's one thing you should know. The payload is lower than most of the other mid-size utes. So it's a matter of not the size, but how you use it. You might have heard that before. There are Dana axles under all models and Fox shocks on the Rubicon model, and it has a solid axle design front and rear with coil springs all around. And just check out the wheelbase of this beast. It's 3,480 millimeters long. That's almost 2 of me. Well, it's a dual cab ute, so it has to have good practicality. And I've got to say, the space back here is pretty awesome. There's easily enough space behind the driver's seat for me to sit comfortably. I'm about 6 feet tall, and I've got knee room, I've got toe room, and I've got headroom. You just have to watch your head if you go off-road, because this roll bar could end up in a little graze or bump, maybe. Depends how hardcore the road is. There is a middle seat armrest, not on this model that we're in right now, but you can get an armrest with cup holders in the middle. ISOFIX child seat anchor points, so if you are a parent, that's good to know, and there's top tether points as well, but you want to keep in mind the safety rating of this car, and you can read all about that in my review. Other things you might want to know about storage. Well, there's a couple of bottle holders down here in the middle. There's a power point, which is handy. And also you've got mat pockets on the backs of the seats. On here and here, you'll find them. Bottle storage in the doors, well, there isn't any. Now, let's check out the front. So if you've seen the interior of the Jeep Wrangler, then you won't be surprised to see how similar it is in here. It is very retro looking though, and there are some really nice touches that Jeep always puts into its cars. Easter eggs, they call them, little stickers and little elements that you sort of don't notice until you look around and take it all in. It's pretty impressive in that regard. And it feels like a lifestyle vehicle in here. It doesn't necessarily feel like a work ute, but then again, if you're looking at this sort of ute, you're not going to be putting a ton of bricks in the back. Like literally, you can't put a ton of bricks in the back, but you can tow a boat, you can tow a jet ski, you can tow 2 jet skis. It's pretty good like that. And as for the usability of the interior, yeah, you've got cup holders up front. There's also a decent sized storage bin in between the seats. Again, no door storage. You've only got little mesh nets, which I'll show you over here in a second. And also, there are nice things like a big screen, which some of the other utes just don't have that level of connectivity and usability. This is an 8.4 inch screen in this particular model with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and Bluetooth and all the things you'd expect of a modern SUV. And I guess that tells the whole story. So I've got to say that I have been supremely surprised by this car. I didn't expect that it would ride this well. I didn't expect that it would steer this well. I didn't expect that it would accelerate this well, brake this well. It is really impressive. And what you can tell is that Jeep has decided, you know what, we're not going to make a work truck and make it lifestyle focused. We're going to make a lifestyle truck, and that's what this is. Consider the fact that we've got a convertible roof. We can rip the doors off. We can fold the windshield down. There's all these things that you wouldn't necessarily associate with a typical pickup truck. And I guess that's the point of this car. It isn't a typical pickup truck. The 3.6 litre engine in this car, it's fine. I don't love it. I think the diesel will be a better fit, and a V8 eventually, if it happens, will be an even better fit again. But it's impressive enough. The 8-speed auto does a good job of harnessing its power, and it's got enough torque to get out of most situations pretty easily. For me, the steering is just a little bit too light on center, particularly at highway speed. I'd like a little bit more weight to it, but generally it's very, very usable. And for the size of this thing, it's nearly 5.6 meters long. It gets around corners surprisingly well. You wouldn't even know there was a tray on the back if you didn't see it from the outside. The ride is exceptional. I mean, yes, you can tell that it's got live axles and it does feel a little wobbly in some situations, but generally the compliance of the suspension with nothing in the tub is absolutely fantastic. It is probably the new benchmark in this segment, and that's a big call because there are some really, really well sorted utes in the mid-size segment. There's not too much noise to contend with. The only thing you will notice is these big square mirrors do throw in quite a bit of wind noise when you're going 110 k's an hour on the freeway. But I've been surprised that there hasn't been more noise, because considering it's got a removable roof, although we haven't driven the soft top version yet, that might be a different story. Have to wait and see. Now obviously this is a Jeep and it is based on a Wrangler, so it should be able to do the off-road thing pretty well. Shall we have a look? Let's do it. Yeah, it's a Jeep, so of course it can go off-road. But this is the Rubicon version, which is the most hardcore version of the Gladiator. Of course, if you know Jeep at all, you know that Rubicon means that this is a car that can do pretty much anything you throw at it. And based on what we've seen today, that's a fair conclusion of where this car sits. But just judging these ruts, there's a fair bit of mud. We're in the new Off-Road Plus drive mode, which basically chooses everything for you. This is pretty loose, yucky, sticky clay mud, and you might be able to hear from the tires outside that it is pretty nasty out there. A few things I've learnt during my time already at the wheel here. The Jeep has put a lot of effort into the throttle response, the braking response, the steering, all the important things when you are going off-road in a serious situation like this. Whether it's going downhill, down on rocks, whether you're climbing up a steep climb like this in mud and ruts, there is a lot of expertise that this brand has got. Oh mate, shaking like a madman. This is fun. This is so good. This is just eating it up. So no matter the situation, you will find that the Jeep Gladiator can handle it, especially the Rubicon edition. Now the tires are deflated to 20 PSI, which makes a big difference when you need more grip underneath you. And when there's mud like this, or if you're on sand, you definitely need as much grip as you can get. The real concern for the Gladiator could be its safety offering. It's based on the Wrangler, which managed just 1 star in Euro NCAP testing in 2018. We don't know yet what safety gear will be offered in Australia, but you can read more about it in the written review. Initial pricing and specs details can be found there too. So there you have it, that's the Jeep Gladiator. I've been supremely impressed by this vehicle. I didn't expect to like it as much as I do, but it's not the average dual cab ute, and you shouldn't really consider it to be. It's more of an SUV that just happens to have a tray on the back. And I can't wait to see how it's priced and positioned when it gets to Australia in 2020. And you'll have to stay tuned to carsguide.com.au for all the information as we get it.